My name is Fernando de Souza. I'm a third year fashion accessory design and prototype student. I'm working on my dissertation for working into the idea of men wearing high heels. I wanted to understand the concept into why it's seen as a social stigma for men not to wear high heels. I've been living in a country such as Nigeria where seeing men dress a certain feminine way is seen as a social no-no, depending on how the culture will see it. I personally struggle trying to understand why see wearing high heels is a social burden, especially in today's contemporary society. During the Edwardian times, men in high society were seen wearing heels more often because they were showing their legs more in society, whereas women never had to wear them because they never showed their legs at all. It was only until the 20th century was when the shift began. Men started going into the war, they started wearing more simpler clothing, women started going into the workforce, and women began getting more of a sense of freedom to dress the way they wanted. And I believe that that's how it started, the shift. I believe that that shift is what triggered the change within the First World War. But after the Second World War, between the 60s to late 80s, was where the shift began to change constantly, where androgyny started to come in as well, and also men were also wearing heels and high platforms, similar to what David Bowie wore during his Ziggy Stardust era. David Bowie and Prince were ones who dominated each of those eras in their own respects. During the modern era now, there's only one artist that has seemed to have taken the idea of androgyny to a whole new level and being a voice for both the LGBTQ community, such as Lady Gaga, who has taken inspiration from David Bowie, for instance, and has done tribute performances for him, and has believed that she could try and become a voice for those who feel like they're still shut out from the world. Although she is mostly known for her amazing music and her over-the-top fashion, she always makes sure she finds a way to connect with the actual people she's supporting and making sure that she gives them a platform where they can speak for themselves and have the right to stand up for themselves. For the Prada runway, what I loved about that particular collection was the chunky heeled loafer, which had a sportswear element that came with the shoe. I felt like that was something I feel the transgender community would love to wear on a daily basis because it will give them a sense of masculinity and a bit of femininity at the same time and feeling comfortable wearing them. I believe the cause of that is because mostly due to the fact that a lot of transgenders are mostly forced to show that as more as an act rather than as a way of living. So what I've learned looking at all the main transgender figures today, they have all said that most of the people they want to communicate with mostly want to be with you in private but not want to be seen publicly with you, mostly due to social stigma. The Louis Vuitton one was a real factor for me because there were two collections that had the same similar design, and I felt like these two collections were the ones I really wanted to implement the most into my research. For instance, the 2018 Spring Summer Fashion Show was the debut of the A-Arch sneaker, which only came in one particular style. I really liked the shoe from the beginning, and it was really cool and edgy, and it also came with the Louis Vuitton print. However, it was the Cruise Collection 2019 that really gained my attention, where I felt there were so many unique styles, different prints, different looks, different heights for it. I felt like that was the collection that really got me inspired to create the type of shoe I wanted. I wanted to create a mule, which is one of the biggest trends in fashion today, so it would be easier for the wearer to put on and still look fashionable at the same time, but also functional as well. Looking at both the shows, I wanted to combine the elements of the Prada fashion show with the chunky heel and also the main elements of the Louis Vuitton shows with the A-arch sneaker as an element to show the body of it so it can have a futuristic appeal and combine the two together to create this mule that can be a simple everyday shoe for the wearer but also have a futuristic content. I don't think people should stop themselves from wearing heels, or even if it's seen as a social no-no. Individuality is key, and I think you should just be you. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Beauty is found within.